Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much, Victoria. I'm going to start with just a little bit of what's new at Ford's, and then I'll hand it over to you as well.
Perfect.
As Miss Jennifer said, my name is Trisha. I'm from Ford's Theater. I'm joined here by my fantastic colleague, Victoria Rentzel, who is a master teaching artist at Ford's, who's been with us for 10 plus years, but still looks like she is fresh out of college. And we're so excited to be continuing this partnership with you all this year and this season. A couple of things that are new at Fords, and I'll just kind of drop some links into the chat for you all. Um, are that we've got our legacy program, our virtual field trips are up and running all season long, but we've got something new this year. We've expanded our traditional virtual field trips to also offer two workshop style programs. And those workshops are wonderfully interactive and engaging for students. A teaching artist, one of them is also led by Victoria, Zooms or Google Meets into your classroom and leads an interactive session. The two titles for the workshops are The Power of Oratory, and we also have a brand new leadership workshop. And the title of that is Lincoln Leadership Workshop Empowering the Next Generation. These two workshops are, with many of our other offerings, absolutely free of charge to you in the classroom. You send in the request, you let us know which class period works well for you. We match up a teaching artist, and we make magic happen along with you in your classroom. So wanted to let you know about that. And then the last thing that I'll mention is that our applications just opened last month for our teacher professional development programs. We are so excited to have a member of the KEDC family who joined our National Oratory Fellows Program this past year. And we would love to welcome additional members from the KEDC family to our program. So, oops, I dropped the same thing in twice. Please excuse me. Definitely want to let you all know that these are open. We've got three different PDs where we bring teachers from wherever you are to Washington, D.C., and really share with you knowledge about either something social studies centered, or in the case of Victoria and myself, that is oratory, arts integrated, integrated centered. So I'm going to drop that in the chat for you all. And like I said, we are so excited to be here, and I'm going to hand it over to Victoria to lead you through this session.
Thanks so much, Trisha. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I am also going to put in the chat a resource sheet for you all for today. So there it is. Okay, so it is so lovely to be back with you all. I have to say, it's always such a fun time, and I'm really happy to be here. So, what we're going to be looking at today is something called oratory integration, which I'd like to think of as just boosting those speaking and listening skills in your arts classrooms. I'm sure you've all heard of arts integration before, where you're bringing in arts into like social studies and English classes and things like that, and sort of looking at it through that lens. I'm going to add in that oratory is also an art form. So, quick question for you all before we get started. Show of hands, how many of you have your students talk in class, whether it's informally in discussions or giving presentations or something along those lines? Okay, that's basically unanimous. So this is for you. This is also information that you can share with any other teachers you work with in your school, social studies, English language arts, whatever it is. All of these applications are helpful in all classes. So quick little overview of what we're going to be doing today, my friends. We're going to be talking about what exactly is oratory, fancy schmancy word. We're going to be looking at three of the major tools in Ford's Theater's approach to oratory, which are the podium points, warm and cool feedback, and the rhetorical triangle. We're going to be doing a little practice activity, putting all of these things into practice so that you all get a chance to do that. And it's something you can take right into your classrooms, the activity that we are going to be doing today. We're also going to look at some other classroom applications, and I'm going to ask you to be brainstorming some of those. And for the practice activity and the classroom applications section, Jennifer, since you are in charge of all of this stuff, I'm going to ask you to assign some breakout rooms when we get to that point so that folks can work in small groups and then come back and share. And I'll let you know when that is and for how long and all of those fun things when we get there. And then lastly, we will wrap up with some time to reflect and to answer any questions that you all might have. This is, yes, a presentation, but I would love for it to be interactive. I would love for folks to help me out, volunteer to answer stuff, try things out, be a little silly, be a little out there, be a little vulnerable. This is meant to grow you, but also, of course, to help your students. So, Joy, your hand is raised. Was that in response to the poll, or is there another question I could answer for you?
I think that was the response to the poll. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Sorry, I'm
Let-
driving. I couldn't find the mute button. I'm not driving
Oh.
now. I'm sitting in line at the pharmacy now, but yeah, I couldn't find my mute button, but it was for the poll.
No
Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, please feel free to jump in at any point, my friends, and let me know if you have any questions or if you want to participate. Please, 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 please do. Okay, so let's jump in. So, this fancy schmancy term oratory, some of you I'm sure have heard of it before. I like to think of it as the art of public speaking. And I really do think that this is an art form. I think just like there are some people who naturally have an inclination towards dance, or maybe they're just naturally good singers, or maybe they're like my mom and they could just pick up an instrument and start playing and like they've never touched it before in their lives. And I'm like, what are you doing? Right? There's that amazing natural talent that some people have. However, I think just like any other art form, it can also be taught and practiced so that there is improvement. And even, when Michael Jordan, for instance, like when he was on a basketball team, he still had to go to team rehearsals, right? I'm sure he had some natural talent, but he was still practicing it. And we can always, always get better. One thing about oratory that I think is really important is that there's no podium required for this, right? We might think of public speaking as standing up at a podium in front of an audience and talking. And yes, that is oratory, but informal classroom discussions, presentations, if you're sitting before a board and you're presenting to them, if you are giving a report on something, if you are at a funeral or a wedding and you're having to do a eulogy or a toast, all of those things are public speaking. If you are a tour guide and you're giving a tour, that's public speaking. So I don't want you all to think of oratory just as standing at a podium, but I want you to think about this as communicating in real life to people outside of just like your family at home, right? Why does it matter? Because I don't care what you do with your life as a career, but you will have to communicate with others. And being able to do that in a technically effective way, knowing how to capture an audience, knowing how to persuade an audience, those are going to be skills that are helpful. And so that's something that I want to offer to you and to your students. Okay. So the first tool that we have in our toolbox are what we call it for it's our podium points. And these are 8 qualities that we have considered to be useful for effective public speaking. And all of these terms, I'm sure that you are familiar with. So I'm not going to like read through all of these, but as a quick note, we have given these little acronyms. So the verbal side has PED-TV and the physical side has PEP. Makes it really easy for students to remember and for teachers to remember too, of course. And we have gorgeous, gorgeous posters that are available to you that have the podium points and all of the definitions on them. They are part of that resource sheet that I dropped into the chat. So if you go there, there's links to all of these things. So please feel free to use them. We're going to just demo a little bit, play around a little bit with something that I like to do when I'm teaching podium points, which is to gamify it. So rather than just, these are just the definitions for verbal, for instance, right? So rather than just having students look at or read the definitions, I like to have them do silly things with them too, to sort of demonstrate the like extremely over the top, quote unquote, bad way of doing these things. So for instance, could I have a volunteer kindly just read out in a normal way the definition for tone? Unmute yourself and off you go, whoever wants to play.
Tone.
Go for it, David.
Oh,
Oh, David, I'll come to you for the next one. Whoever that was, Valerie?
Oh, it might have been me. I don't know.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
Tone, the emotion conveyed by the sound of the speaker's voice. Good tone is appropriate to the content and to the occasion.
You, Greta. So I'm going to ask you, that was a lovely tone. I'm going to ask you to do something really silly for me, Greta. So could you read that definition again? But this time I'm going to ask you to either read it like you're at a funeral and it's really, really hard to talk because you're so overwhelmed, or like you're at a pep rally and you're getting everybody pumped up for the big game. Your choice.
Tone, the emotion conveyed by the sound of the speaker's voice. Good tone is appropriate to the content and to the occasion.
Oh, Greta, I'm getting the feels. Yes, love it. So fun. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's one way that I gamify and play with these. David, since you had your hand raised and were willing to play with this, could you do pace for us? Could you just read out the definition normally? Is it just me? Can everybody hear David? I couldn't hear you, David. I don't know. It doesn't look like you're muted, but maybe your mic is not functioning. Womp womp. Oh, technology. All right. We don't know. Thank you, David, for trying. Thank you for trying there. I'm gonna just bring somebody else on to help with this. So
I can do it.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Joy.
Okay. Pace, is that what you said?
Yes.
How quickly or slowly a person speaks. Good pace is easy to understand by all members of the audience.
Yes, perfect. So Joy, I know, be safe if you're driving, my friend. Are you on the move right now?
I am.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really
Be
close
safe.
to my house.
Okay, all right. I'm not going to have you do the silly part then because I want you to focus on your driving. Could I have another volunteer?
I have my kids to do the drive.
Oh, we lost you to it. Kind of, your sound went a little reverby there.
I'm sorry. I said I have my kids do this too, and I have them do the dry eye guy. You know, I don't know what his name was. Where they don't have no type of, like, it's monotone. Like how
Yes, yes, yes.
quickly or slowly a person speaks. Good pace is easy to understand by all members of the audience. Like no tone whatsoever.
Sound like my 8th grade.
Or
Yes,
no
yes.
fluent,
You
or
sound
no,
like my
that's
8th
how I
grade
explain
science
to them
teacher.
about fluency. I always bring the dry eye guy in and explain to them about like fluency. You want to have fluency, and so that's why I know about this.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's perfect. Yeah. And for those of you who are music teachers, you probably talk a lot about rhythm and staying on the rhythm there, right? And pace is another bit of our toolbox there as far as rhythm goes, right? We can think about that in that way if that's helpful. Awesome. So you all get the general gist of this, right? We have these definitions. Yes, makes me think of Bueller. Bueller. Yes, yes. I love that. Anybody? Bueller, Bueller. Love it. And I make that reference now and kids never get it. It's so sad. I feel like, they get younger every year. So you all get the gamification of this and can use these tools now. Once you have these verbal and these physical definitions down, once you've introduced these to the kids, then these are great tools to come back to throughout the year. Anytime that you all are having a discussion in class, you can be like, all right, great. So let's focus on our posture today, right? I would like everybody to stand up when they're speaking. And I'd like you to think about having your shoulders kind of down, not up by your ears, hands out of pockets, standing up straight and tall. And that can be something that you focus on during the day. It's just posture. And then maybe another day you do volume, and maybe another day you do tone, whatever it is. But these are things that you can incorporate throughout. And for those of you who do theater and have any coaching that you have to do, right, all of these terms are super helpful for that as well. So a
This is
related,
great.
Please
This
go.
is a great session. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is a great session because my daughter is a junior in high school, taking public will be next, which I told her to do it in high school because it's easier than in college. I did mine in high school, so it's easier to do in high school than college. So she's doing it next, and she's very shy. So this will be a good session for me to go back and let her watch.
Yes, I love that. I love that. You're welcome. And this next part should also be really helpful too. So we're going to be talking about one of the core tools that we use when we teach oratory at Ford's, and this is our warm and cool feedback protocol. So as you can see, we've got warm feedback, which is like the nice glowy stuff. We've got some sentence starters there to help. I always tell students, like, when somebody says, "Oh, great job," like, that gives me the warm fuzzies and I feel awesome, but it doesn't help me know what specifically I was doing well so that I can keep doing it, right? And on the flip side, the cool feedback, those are the places for that, constructive criticism, the things that as an audience member were maybe it was a confusing choice to you. It was unclear why somebody made that, something that you noticed that they might want to try instead, that sort of thing. And like, if somebody says, well, that sucked. I have no idea what I did wrong, right? Or what I could improve upon. So both that was great and that sucked are not helpful things to us in terms of getting useful feedback. So I like to think of warm and cool feedback as feedback that is specific, kind, and helpful. It's not personal. It's not aimed at making them feel bad about a choice that they made. It's just about helping them to identify very specifically things that they're rocking out at that they can continue to do or even maybe take it up a notch, right? Or things that they might want to try a different way, right? It's not meant to be personal. It's meant to be really specific, which is why if you're giving any kind of performance-based feedback using those podium points terms can help you to be really specific about it, right? But warm and cool feedback also works really well for giving feedback on other things like their writing or their science projects or whatever it is, right? If you're doing a presentation, or if you're having them like give a report on a composer or something in history, right? You can use those podium points and the warm and cool feedback to give them feedback on not just their performance part of it, right? Not just the vocal sharing of it, but also on the writing if you want to. So those are a couple of tools that are really, really helpful when it comes to integrating oratory into the work that you do. The last one, and this is something I literally could spend all day teaching because I love it so much and it is something that is super in depth, but I'm just going to give you kind of a shorter version of it right now, is what we call at theater the rhetorical triangle. So if you think back to ancient Greece, this philosopher whose bust I have on the screen here, Aristotle, decided that there were three ways of appealing to people. You can appeal through ethos, you can appeal through logos, you can appeal through pathos. And I have a feeling that all of those words you've probably heard at some point in your life, but I just want to give you some specific ways that you can look at these things. So ethos, for me, the central question there is, why should I trust you? Ethos is, of course, connected to that word ethics. So we might think of, morality connected with it. We might think of credibility. We might think of authority. So what makes you, the speaker, the expert on this topic? Is it the fact that you've had personal experience with it? And you've lived through something that lets you talk about it with a sense of authority? Is it part of your career and you've spent years and years working on it? Is it, a student who's just showing that they've done an immense amount of research and they really have developed an understanding of their topic, right? I also think of these three G's: good sense, good character, and goodwill. Good sense just means you know what you're talking about, right? You've done your research, you can speak on it with authority. Good character, of course, has to do with those morals, right? If somebody doesn't have the right sort of morals to be talking about this topic, then that might undermine their credibility. And then the last thing is goodwill, right? The idea of wanting the best for the audience. And where this really comes into play is, I think sometimes, I always think of rhetoric as sort of like a superpower. And I tell my kids, like, you can either use this as a force for good or a force for evil, right? Do you want to be like the hero or the villain? And so sometimes when people are using this in the villainous sense, that goodwill to the audience isn't there, right? They're trying to manipulate their audience into doing something that is for the speaker's benefit and not for the audience's benefit, right? And so those are things that we have to think about in terms of ethos. And that's always sort of where I start out, because if I can't trust the speaker, then like everything else that they're saying doesn't matter to me, right? I'm not going to bother with it. So logos is really about the message, right? So we've moved from the speaker really to the message. And this is, as if you know, the connection with logic, right? Then you know it has to do with reason and logic. And I like to think of this in two parts. So the first part is the structure of the argument. So how you are laying out information. Is it clear, logical, easy to follow? The second part of it is the actual body, the content of the speech. Is it factual? Are you giving me proof, right? This prove it to me idea. Are you giving me proof, evidence to back up your argument and to back up your claims, right? And then the third one is pathos. And as you might have guessed from the connections to the words like sympathy and empathy, this has to do with our emotions. But it also has to do with, and I think most people leave this out, it has to do with our imagination as well. So this is the part where the speaker is really trying to make a connection with the audience. This is the part that's going to be most about the audience. And we can think of it in terms of like somebody's pulling at your heartstrings, or we can think about it as the speaker is trying to make you really angry about an injustice so that you'll take action on it. Those sorts of things that stir your emotions are all part of pathos. The other thing that's part of pathos, though, is that imagination. So if a speaker is asking you to think about what's possible, like Apple has always been really good at using that in their marketing, right? Because they'll show you a new product and they'll show you all the things that are possible with this product that have never been possible before, or all the cool tech things that they're working on, right?
Have you
Those
seen the
the
new commercial for the Apple hearing aids? And it's
No.
really appealing and it makes you cry. It
Oh, I have
shows
not.
it shows a man like turning up his hearing aids and his daughter sitting across from him playing the guitar, and then it goes back to her birth and shows you like her entire life up till now and how he's like lost his hearing, and now it's an app on his iPhone and he could just swipe it up and he can hear his daughter.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to have to look that up and use that as an example with my kids. That's awesome. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, please feel free to like hop in if you ever want to like riff on anything I'm talking about. But I love when a speaker makes their audience think about what's possible through either taking action or not taking action, right? We can think about if the speaker's asking you to like, let's just imagine it's a donate to Save the Tigers fund or something, right? What are the consequences of inaction, right? 50 years from now, are there going to be tigers left in the wild? Think about that, right? And they're trying to get you to imagine what are either the positive or the negative consequences of action or inaction. So these three appeals are what we call at Ford's the rhetorical triangle. And these are going to be useful anytime that your students need to create some kind of an argument, right? Some kind of opinion about something, or a research paper, or anything like that. One other thing that I forgot to mention earlier, but I think is really helpful, ethos, one way you can establish that is in how you talk to your audience, or write to your audience if you're writing, right? If I came in with all of you right here being adult teachers and I was like, okay, boys and girls, let's sit down on the floor, crisscross applesauce. You'd be like, what is wrong with this person, right? I would completely lose any ethos because I would not be talking to you at your level, right? So that's another little technique to be thinking about with ethos too, is really not talking over, not getting like too technical for your audience, right? But not talking down to them either, meeting them where they are as part of ethos. So these three things kind of combine into a triangle. And we like to think that in most instances, you want to have a balance between these things. But of course, depending on your audience, you might need to lean more heavily on one part rather than another, right? If the teacher is asking you to talk about a personal experience with something, ethos is probably going to play a big part in that. If you're trying to get your audience to have an emotional response to something, you're going to be playing more with pathos. If your audience is, you're talking to a bunch of, I don't know, lawyers or doctors or something, they're going to probably want more hard evidence than heartstring pulling, right? So you might need to lean into that more. So for this, like, think about how your kiddos can form and express opinions about things, or how they can use this if they're doing a report on, I don't know, Mozart or something, right? How can you tie these skills in? So these are the three podium points, warm and cool feedback, and the rhetorical triangle are the three main tools that we're going to be talking about today. Any questions about any of those before we move on and actually try out some of this stuff? Going once, going twice, Bueller. All right, good. So here is what is going to happen. We are going to practice this by doing a little breakout activity. So I'm going to ask for, maybe we can break it down into, I don't know, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think I created 6.
Oh, cool. Okay, let's do it. Let's yeah. 6 should be about, is it about 3 people or so per group? Is that about right?
About 4. 4.
Okay, great.
Most
Let's do
groups,
it.
3 or 4.
Great. So here's what's going to happen, my friends. You all are going to be giving me a 30-second, giving all of us a 30-second pitch on what the best wintertime activity is and why. Everyone in your group must speak when you are presenting it, so figure that out. I would love for you to use logos, ethos, and pathos, and I'm not asking you to do any crazy research, so you can either look up things on your phone or make up facts for this because it's, just a silly game kind of thing. I would love for you to have excellent podium points as you are presenting. And then we are going to do practice giving each other a little warm and cool feedback with that. So actually, I'm thinking for time's sake, let's see if we can break it into 4 groups, if that's possible, Jennifer. And I am going to give you 5 minutes to work. So once you're in your groups, 5 minutes, 30-second pitch, all of these things incorporated, and then we're going to come back and share out. Are there any questions before Jennifer puts you in the rooms about what I'm asking you to do? Take a picture or screenshot this.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. 2 groups have 7 and the rest have 6.
It's great. No worries. No worries. So yeah, take a picture of this or screenshot it if you need to refer to it. Any questions? Any questions? All right, sweet. I'll see you all in 5 minutes. So at 4:38. Have fun.
Okay. Here we go. I'm going to open the rooms. All they have to do is join. Okay, I think they've all gone.
Yeah, sure looks like it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
That's okay.
Is Patricia, are you with? Oh, there we go. Okay. Awesome,
So are you going to
awesome.
keep the time, or are you going to do you want to broadcast or type in when they need
Yeah,
to
if
be?
you want to, that's totally fine. You can give them a little halfway through warning if you want.
How
So
fun.
Jennifer, have you been in any of my sessions before? Have I
I
met
don't
you?
believe
Okay.
so. I don't think you've
Oh,
met me yet. I just work with a grants team and help out whenever they need me. I'm a former educator, English teacher, and high school principal. And
oh, fabulous. That's great.
yeah, I've retired now. I've gone over to the other side. I'm on the grant side now. So it's awesome. It is. I feel like I won the lottery.
Oh,
It's
that's the best.
Yeah, it's a great group of people to work with, and I get to meet so many people, so many teachers in different districts in our state. So I love it.
That's wonderful. I think there's nothing better than doing what you love every day.
No, that's right. It doesn't seem like work.
Exactly. Exactly. So good. Right.
Oh, it's almost.
Yeah, almost at the halfway mark. They're going to have to make quick decisions.
You there yet? Are we at the halfway mark?
Yeah, we are indeed.
I sent it.
Love that. Thank you.
They're so funny. They're a talky group. They like to.
I love it. I love it. It's so much better than people not participating. So
Mhm.
are these same teachers, this same particular group? Am I going to see them on Monday? Or is it a different group? Do you know?
Possibly, let's see. Let me look at my calendar. Monday.
You can always get the details from
No, it's a
Trisha.
different group. It's a different group. Two different groups. Hero and Recharge. These are predominantly arts teachers, and the other group on Monday will be social studies, elementary and middle.
Fabulous.
Mainly, you'll have some librarians, you'll have some
Oh, great.
specialists. So
That's fantastic. Great. So nice to have a whole chunk of these to work on this year.
oh yeah.
Great. These are really fun workshops. I always love teaching them.
I'm excited about all the other workshop and virtual field trip opportunities. Those are awesome. Teachers
Yeah,
will definitely want to take advantage of that.
I sure hope so. Yeah. There's so many great resources out there for teachers, and I'm sure like they get overwhelmed with all of the choices and stuff. I hope that the fact that these are free makes it a little bit easier for them.
Yeah.
Swing that. All right. I think we can call people back whenever we're ready. It's 4:38.
Okay. And I can close them.
That works.
That's what I should have already done because it'll take about 60 seconds to get them all back in there.
It's fine. It's all good.
Lynn's back.
I clicked the button by accident, so my
That's
team's going to be
okay.
mad at me. But if I post something in the chat now, is everybody and their brother going to be able to see it, or just my group?
Everybody can see it.
Yeah, I
Unless
believe
you go
everybody will
down
see
and
it.
just pick those people.
I guess they're all just going to have to see it because we were typing what we were going to say in the thingy.
Oh, hey, your kids.
Six,
Lynn, I'm gonna mute you.
7.
It's like we are back.
If you're in my group, I
Fantastic.
tried to fix it in the chat with the numbers. Sorry, I clicked the button too soon.
That's okay.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so I am going to just for the moment turn off my screen share so that you all can focus on yourselves. How do I get this to stop? Or did it stop? I think it did stop already. Are you
It
not seeing it?
stopped.
Okay, great.
Oh, we can't.
Perfect. I was like, why is there no off button? It's because it's already off. That's why. Okay. So let's do this, my friends. Listening for those podium points, listening for Logos Pathos. Should we just start with room 1? Whoever was in room 1.
Suggestion. Last week we were in a session where we did breakout things, and they had us when we came back to share. There's a button at the top that says view, and you can change it to view or hide non-video participants. And so only the people in group 1 turned their video on and everybody else turned it off, and then you could only see those people.
Oh, interesting. Hide non-video participants. Okay, let's do that. If you are not in group 1, go ahead and yeah, I've got it up on my computer, but I don't think it's set for everybody. So you'll just have to do it on your own. Okay, so group 1, whenever it is just you all, I'm going to turn off my video. Whenever you're ready.
So group 1, just I think some of us are confused. I didn't even know I was in group 1. Group 1 is Allison, Cheney, Kelly, DeBoard, Laura, Sarah, Shelley, me, and Valerie.
Okay.
So I was gonna, okay, great. Okay.
Kelly, you're muted.
Our favorite wintertime activity is staying home with a good book and a cup of hot cocoa.
My book makes me feel like a kid again.
My book makes me feel like I'm lost in another world.
My book makes me feel cozy.
My book just reinforces the fact that I don't want to be around other people.
There's no better way to spend those short winter nights when it's so cold outside than cuddling up with some good book that makes you a better person in the new year.
My book makes me feel brave in the comfort of my own home without actually having to go outside.
And to conclude, it's our favorite winter activity, and we bet it could be yours too. The end.
Yeah. Snaps all around. Love it. Yes, so much fun. Okay. Who would like to give some warm feedback, something specific that you liked? Let's think about maybe those podium points, or let's think about the logos, ethos, and pathos, something that they did really well. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to share.
I love that they each brought their own book and their own little mug and told what it did for them. That was such a cool personal touch.
Yes.
I love how it appealed to your imagination because a book can take you anywhere and give you all different kinds of feelings and experiences.
I don't know if this would go under like logical, but someone was like, you don't even have to like go outside. Like you get to stay warm. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that maybe you don't think of it as like a winter activity, but like, so I don't know what category that'd go under, but I did like it. So good touch.
Yeah, it's a little bit of logic, right? Because they're providing a reason for something, but it's also pathos because it's making us feel like, oh yeah, I can just relax inside, right? Yes. Yes, I am, Greta. I also really liked the prop. I saw you put that into the chat there. And what I liked about the prop was that you all had a book. You were all demonstrating that you were book readers and you had experience. So you were building your ethos just by flashing that book there. It was great. Any last thoughts before our next group shares? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you all knew which room number you were in, so this might actually be kind of confusing. So somebody who was not in that last group, raise your hand and I'm going to select you and the people in your group will go. Greta. All right. So
Yeah,
Greta's group is going to go next.
We had room 2.
Okay. Fabulous. So remember to turn your video off if you are not in this group.
Lynn, Megan, Dennis, Madeline, Greta, Melissa, and Heather.
All right. The best wintertime activity has to be sledding.
Few things compare to the thrill of racing down a snowy hill, wind in your face, laughter echoing all around.
Sledding isn't just fun, it's also great exercise.
Helping to build strength as you climb back up the hill and release stress through play.
And as someone who spent countless winter days sledding with family and friends, I can tell you it's not just about the ride. It's about the memories you make along the way.
Whether you're on a classic wood sled or a simple plastic one, sledding captures the joy of winter like nothing else.
The end.
Thank you for that. Blue snaps all around. Let's start out with some warm feedback for this group. We're just going to ignore the cool for right now because it's a 30-second thing, but let's do some warm feedback. Who's got something specific that they can offer? Tanya.
It had a very nice flow. I could tell that it was like it flowed from one to the other, and it wasn't like just that, but it had a nice flow.
Yeah. So that structure part of the logic. Yeah. Go for it, Sarah.
I felt like I was watching like a medication commercial. You know how it goes from like one scene to the next and like many people are talking, but all their sentences like pick up where the last one left off.
I like how they were
Joy.
enthusiastic.
Yes, yes. So
Upbeat.
one thing that go ahead, Joy.
I like how they were enthusiastic and upbeat and like made it sound like a lot of fun.
Yes, yes. Definitely with the pathos on the fun thing. One thing that we didn't really talk about was on our physical side of the podium points list, it's presence. And presence is like that energy that you're giving to the audience, your vibe, your like bring it Beyonce energy if you want, right? That confidence, that like je ne sais quoi, you want to be there, right? You want to connect. And all of you had that lovely energy. So your presence was like off the charts. Any other feedback?
I like how they appealed to everybody. They said, oh, it's fun, but it's also good exercise. They just listed something that would appeal to all audiences.
Yeah. Yeah, that logos bit of it's great exercise, it releases stress, all those facts, all that evidence. Yes. Love that. All right. Yay. Let's move on to who hasn't gone yet. Raise your hand if your group has not gone yet.
Emily,
Susan. All right.
Emily,
We'll
yeah.
go with Susan's group.
That's group 3.
Thank you. Perfect.
Our favorite wintertime activity was working a jigsaw puzzle because the whole family can enjoy. It's engaging, satisfying, and it's very warm.
It's something that anybody of any age can do, and it's good for your memory and it's good for your heart because everybody gets excited about working a jigsaw puzzle.
And it's something every age group can enjoy.
I guess something. Okay, and it's something that you can do throughout the winter months and the summer months. And like she said, the whole family can do it, but also like if you're just walking by and you see a piece, you can kind of just pick it up and stick it where it needs to go. So we thought the puzzle was a great idea for any age and for a family fun. The end.
Thank you. Woohoo! Nicely done.
I didn't know how many people
Yes.
was in our group. Sorry.
It's all good. It is all good. I know it's fast and furious and it's hard to remember. Yes, all good, all good. So much fun. Who would love to give some warm feedback? Greta, go for it.
I love that you all chose jigsaw puzzles. It's something that my mom really enjoys doing, and my daughter and me. And so it's like multi-generational, like you were talking about, the whole family gets together. And my mom was at UK in like a step down unit for about 2 weeks, and they always had these jigsaw puzzles in the lobby, and different random family members would come and work on it kind of together. It was really cool. I enjoyed your all's presentation. So great.
That's what I said. My mom, I take her to Vanderbilt's for her cancer, and they have a jigsaw puzzle in there, and she's like, go ahead, Joy. I know you're dying to go over there and see if you can find a piece. And so I like that they put them in the hospitals and stuff. That's really cool.
I am curious, for how many of you did jigsaw puzzles bring up like some nostalgia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to ring very much in that sort of pathos vein for a lot of people because it's such a familiar activity. Awesome. What other warm feedback do we have?
I liked how they went, said it wasn't even like just fun for just the winter time. You could do it at any time of the year, like in summer, and so like it kind of went and made it more accessible for everyone.
So good. All right, for time's sake, let's go ahead and move on to our last group. You all know who you are, so hide your video if you're not that person or that group.
Okay, what you need to know is the best wintertime activity is actually Christmas caroling. There are so many different reasons. Right off the bat, you can talk about socializing. When you're Christmas caroling, you get to go to so many different places and meet so many wonderful people from nursing homes, hospitals, in your neighborhood.
You also can't help smiling when you sing a Christmas carol.
A recent study done by psychologists have shown that Christmas carols improve people's moods by 90% when they hear them.
From 1 to 92, no matter how long it's been, the warm words of carols interweave us together, generation to generation.
Maybe it's me. We have historical documents from the Hallmark Channel that prove Christmas caroling is the best, the best. Also, it improves with exercise, going around meeting and greeting your neighbors. It's wonderful socializing. Those great historical documents.
Nice, David.
Is that the end?
I don't think David's mics work.
Yeah, David's mic isn't working, but he is participating with those drawings. I love it. And the fa la 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 la. So good. That was like the best ugly Christmas sweater drawing I've ever seen, David. Love it. So good. Okay, my friends. Historical documents from Hallmark. Brilliant. Love it. Who's got some warm feedback?
I just really like how they really pulled on your heartstrings, number one, and then they used the facts throughout the entire thing. I thought it was amazing. Great job.
It's like they did research on it. Did y'all do chat GPT or whatever it's called?
Or did you make that fact up? Yeah.
Made it up.
It was good. It sounded really good.
It was excellent.
I like that there was a sense of humor to it too.
Yes. Humor is an overlooked part of pathos, right? We connect through laughter, right? That's part of our emotions. So, yes, love that. Excellent, excellent. All right. So, for time's sake, my dears, I am going to sort of run through just a couple of things with you before we wrap up. So, I have a whole list. Again, feel free to screenshot this or take a picture of it, but a whole list of things that
you can do with oratory and arts integration. Some of these are things that you can do directly in your classes, like improv if you're a theater teacher, but I also think you can improv, like, show me a scene between Mozart and Salieri, right? Improv that. Whatever it is, but any of these strategies, these activities can be used to further the art of public speaking. And also you can partner with other teachers in your classroom and bring these in. I love when a theater teacher can help out with something like living history, for instance, and help students bring a historical figure to life. Right, so feel free to screenshot these or take a picture. I'm going to switch to the next screen in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You also have a recording. All right. So just quickly in this last moment as we reflect on this, what's an activity you can think of in your curriculum right now that involves any kind of speaking, active listening, providing feedback, making a persuasive argument that is in your existing curriculum? How can you use these tools in your existing curriculum?
Like I said, I use the vocabulary tools, like where they kind of like I call it like charades, where they act it out or they do it in a different voice. They read it and then they do it in a different voice. And I do math, but the lady that's in the room with me does reading, so that kind of helps with the fluency part when she's working with them with reading, and then it helps them learn their math vocabulary. I do this mainly with the 4th grade because vocabulary is huge on the 4th and 5th grade test.
That's great, Joy.
So I teach band, and I think that it would be a really good way to get kids really involved in the program, like the programming of a concert, have them do argumentative writing for which pieces they really want to play.
Yes, and get them up presenting in front of the class too. That's awesome. Yes. Anybody else? Tanya.
Okay, so on my board over there, our essential question for this chapter, I teach social studies, by the way, 8th grade, is when is war justified? And it's, we're through the revolution. We just ended the revolution. So the part which is making a persuasive argument, and they could actually stand up and speak, and they could take on the role of Thomas Jefferson or Sam Adams or, Benedict Arnold, whatever. And they can argue their side as though they are that person.
Love that. Yes. So great. We got time for 1 or 2 more if anybody wants to share.
I do a lot of pullouts, and I teach band. So we don't have as many opportunities for them to like get out and speak, but I go down the line and make them play examples, and then I have the kids use our vocabulary, like what did you like about so and so's playing and why? And then when we're all playing, we're like, which student do you think you'd like to sound like the most and why? And like that way they're like they're listening for like good tone, like are they playing the right notes? Do they keep a steady beat? So we're using like words like tempo, rhythm, all that stuff. And it actually is good because like it doesn't make them uncomfortable to talk about like what's great and so like the kids actually are trying to sound like each other, which I like.
I love
and
that.
they're complimenting
Having that
each
technical
other.
language. Yes, yeah. And now you've got that warm and cool feedback protocol where you can use that to help them give really specific answers. Awesome sauce. Okay. So my friends, I'm going to leave you with this one. How do you plan on using these strategies in your classroom? This is for you to mull over. Any quick last minute questions? Because I know we're at time. Y'all are amazing. I put the resource with all of the links to our posters and videos and all of that in the chat.
That's awesome.
That if you need to. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Victoria.
You were
Dennis,
great.
I love that. I love what you were doing, talking about in your band class. I love that.
Yeah, so good.
Thank you.
Victoria, you did such an amazing job. This is a great session. Went by really quickly.
Thank you. I always want longer than an hour.
I know.
It's great fun. Thank you all so much for being such good sports today and playing along. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
I've put
you.
that
You too.
evaluation link
You're
and
welcome.
evaluation link is in the chat. If anybody, I'll stay on. If anybody has any questions or anything you need, just hang out here. David, I'm sorry your microphone's not working. I wonder if it's the volume on there. We see you. Your drawing was great. Thanks, Sarah, for your help. Thanks, Emily. Thank you, Heather. You all did great tonight. Great job.